Now, still no white smoke. And after a week of there being, well, a daily assumed favourite candidate being put forward here in France as Emmanuel Macron's potential choice for the country's new Prime Minister, well, it appears we could all be back to square one. Macron has throughout the week received a series of different potential candidates in his attempts to find a consensus possibility that could possibly bring the French Parliament into some kind of working situation. But so far, well, he seems to have failed. Well, international affairs commentator Philip Turle is joining me here on set. Good to have you with us, Philip. I mean, it is now, isn't it, the longest period since the creation of the Fifth Republic, back in 1958, that France has been without a head of government. Why so long?
51 days
51.
already. 51 days without a Prime Minister. Well, we have got a Prime Minister, that's Gabriel Attal, but he's a caretaker Prime Minister because he no longer has a majority in the National Assembly with his party, Renaissance, that's Emmanuel Macron's party. So the search is on to find a replacement for him, and it is turning out to be a nightmare scenario for the president because every candidate he has in mind, that candidacy is shot down by the opposition who say, well, if that candidate does become Prime Minister, then we are going to immediately set up a vote of no confidence in the National Assembly and the Prime Minister and the government will fall because there will be enough support for that vote of no confidence to be accepted. So that is the predicament that Emmanuel Macron is in. We haven't seen anything like this for years and years in France. Normally it's just a formality that once an election is taken over, the president will name a new prime minister and that prime minister will then form a government. The problem here is that no one has a majority. 289 is that magic figure, Stuart, that you need, the number of seats you need to be able to form a majority in the National Assembly. No party has it. The NFP, which is the La France Insoumise, France on Bowed far left party, the Socialists, the Greens and the Communists, they have 193. That's 100 seats short of that majority. And then you have the government, Renaissance, they have 166, still not enough. The National Rally of Marine Le Pen, as a single party, they have the most seats, but only 142, so they can't form a government. And neither can the traditional right wing, the Republicans. They only have 47 seats. That's their worst showing since the Fifth Republic. So we're in a situation where there is horse trading going on, there are arguments going on, almost insults being traded because Emmanuel Macron has said he will not govern either with the left-wing France on Bowed or with the far-right National Rally of Marine Le Pen. He would like to take a more consensual candidate in the middle, but both of those parties have said, well, if you take a consensual candidate in the middle, we will veto that and there will be no government.
Most of this week, Philip, we've had two main potential candidates, haven't we, that everyone's been talking about. This is Bernard Cazeneuve and Xavier Bertrand. Tell us about them.
Okay, so there are, in fact, three right now. The first two, Bernard Cazeneuve, he is 61. He was a former socialist prime minister, so he's been there and done that and knows what he's going to do if he gets named. But he quit the Socialist Party in 2022 when they struck up an alliance with the far left and created his own movement called La Convention. So he is seen as a figure who doesn't really toe the line as far as the socialists are concerned today. They're saying he's an odd person out, and also the far right has said they will veto his candidacy. Second person, Xavier Bertrand, a lot of hope was given towards his candidacy. He's 59, he's the current regional council president of the Hauts-de-France, the northern French region. He was a former employment minister under Nicolas Sarkozy, but he quit the Republicans, the Conservative Party, and then rejoined it to try to become presidential nominee. He didn't manage that, but he's an arch enemy of Marine Le Pen, who also has a bastion in northern France, and she said if he gets named, I'm going to veto that candidacy straight away. There's another one now, and that's Michel Barnier, who was a former agriculture minister in France. He's also been foreign minister, but he was best known as being the Brexit negotiator and a commissioner in the European Union. If he's taken on, he's 73, he will be the oldest candidate, but he could be more consensual because he comes from the EU and maybe someone who's well respected as well could be a candidate that would fit the bill. But even that is not sure right now, and we don't know if Michel Barnier wants to actually do the job. Because there's a saying in France that when you become prime minister, you walk in to the prime minister's office on your 2 feet and you come out carried feet first because the work is so incredibly difficult and you're just in the crux of arguments all the time. There are two important issues that need to be solved urgently in France. The first one is the budget. It has to be presented to Parliament by the end of September. No sign of that happening, and there's an increase in France's debt, which has been announced, and also a big row going on about the overall reform of the pension bill, which came into effect last year, pushing the pension age up to 64. practically unanimity through the opposition that bill is going to be shot down if they take power. That's something Emmanuel Macron doesn't want. Last point. A lot of people are saying, why doesn't Emmanuel Macron resign, call fresh presidential elections that will lead to new legislative elections, could solve the problem. Emmanuel Macron's due to stay in office till 2027, and he is not moving.